Chair Collins, Vice Chair Murray, Senator Britt, and members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to be here today to share how biomedical research conducted in the United States impacts the health of American citizens. Though I will focus all of my comments on cancer research and cancer care, I want to emphasize that the advances in virtually all other chronic and acute illnesses have been equally remarkable, and all because of federal investments in biomedical research. I'm Barry Sleckman. I'm the director of the O'Neill Comprehensive Cancer Center at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB. I have spent the past 27 years as a faculty member conducting cancer research. My research, along with that of thousands of other scientists in this country, is supported by the federal government primarily through the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and for cancer, the National Cancer Institute, NCI. On behalf of these scientists and myself, I would like to thank you all for decades of unwavering bipartisan support for U.S. biomedical research. In 1990, when I was a medical resident, I took care of several patients with metastatic melanoma whose life expectancy was measured in months. I would not have dared to have dreamed that in my lifetime there would be a treatment for metastatic melanoma. Yet, here we are today with 43% of patients with metastatic melanoma living 10 years or more due to new treatments that we refer to as cancer immunotherapy. These treatments were pioneered by a federally funded American scientist who for this work was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine in 2018. The impact of federal support does not stop at these important new scientific discoveries. The NIH and NCI also provide support for clinical trials designed to test the safety and efficacy of novel treatments based on new scientific discoveries. As the sophistication and innovation of our research increases, so does the success rates of these trials. Indeed, as a result, there are thousands of Americans who are alive today and cancer-free due to new treatments they received as part of a cancer clinical trial. The Cancer Centers program funded by the NCI now includes 73 cancer centers that span rural and urban areas in 37 states and the District of Columbia. These NCI-designated centers form a critical network that accelerates breakthrough cancer research and life-saving cancer clinical trials. At any given time, thousands of research studies are underway at these NCI-designated cancer centers, many of which are collaborations between the cancer centers and the community and industry. Rightfully so, the American taxpayers want to know whether they are getting a good health return on investment for the substantial federal funds that have been put into biomedical research in this country. Well, for cancer, consider this. The mortality from cancer has declined 34% in the last 30 years. In the U.S., in 2000, there were 8 million cancer survivors. In 2022, 18 million. And the number in 2040 is predicted to reach 26 million cancer survivors. A number of cancer survivors that is greater than the combined populations of the states of Washington, Maine, Alabama, Kentucky, and Connecticut. In 2000, the average survival of a patient with metastatic melanoma was 6.5 months. Today, it is 6 years. 6 years, and there are 39,000 people in this country living with metastatic melanoma. Senators, due to basic biomedical research fueled by federal investments, these individuals together will enjoy an additional 215,000 years. 215,000 years of life. Impactful biomedical research that lessens the burden of disease does not only take a village, it takes a country. Until recently, this country has been undeniably the United States. For generations, the U.S. has had an unwavering commitment to biomedical research, training the next generation of scientists, and accelerating the pace of disease-curing discoveries. I have barely scratched the surface of the impact of this commitment in my testimony today. I'd like to close with a photo that I keep on my desk as a reminder of the importance of what we do. Each year, the O'Neill Comprehensive Cancer Center at UAB honors 9 cancer patients at the O'Neill Iron Strong Award ceremony. 9 patients who had otherwise fatal cancers before entering a clinical trial at the O'Neill. 9 patients alive today thanks to new experimental treatments that they received on those trials. Take a good look at them. They're young and they're old. They're men and they're women. They're black and they're white. But they are all healthy, happy, and cancer-free, some for more than a decade. Patients like this is why we do what we do, and what we do would not be possible without federal government support through the NIH and NCI. I would like to thank you again for the opportunity to speak here today, and on behalf of these patients and the thousands of biomedical researchers in this country whose tireless efforts have given them life. Thank you. I understand the cancer burdens that your state experiences very, very well. I suspect that as they start to make cuts like this, they will look at programs, these larger programs, to absorb some of those cuts. And so, although I don't have a crystal ball, I would imagine that the rate of new cancer center designations, which over the last 5 years has been about 1 or so per year, will lessen. And there are many cancer centers, including the one in your own state, that are kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for the control tower to let them know that it's time to land. And those will have to stay holding for a longer period of time. And I think, we've touched on some of that today, but to crystallize that, clinical trials and running clinical trials is challenging for the researchers that do it. There's an awful lot of regulatory and administrative activities that go into that. And I would say that they do it primarily driven by their love and their passion for being able to provide their patients who otherwise may have untreatable cancers with a possible cure. And again, 30 years ago, when we put patients on cancer trials, there really was no kind of upfront feeling that the patient themselves would benefit from that. They were doing it to help us learn about treatments of the future. But as I said in my presentation, there are thousands and thousands of patients, of people walking around today alive because they had a good outcome from a treatment that they got on a trial. And so the medical professionals at my cancer center and the others are committed to doing that. But there's a certain limit to that commitment. If the challenges are made insurmountable, they won't be able to do it. If money is removed that supports the services that help them open the trial, now make it much more difficult for them to open the trial, eventually they'll say, well, I have to take care of patients in clinic. I don't have time to do this. So it's critical that we keep things in place the way they are now.